1994, after a particularly poor practice round, hitting the ball out to right field all the time. I went to the practice tee and I said, you know what, I'm sick and tired of hitting the ball out to right field. Back in those days, I was still swinging the golf club with the reverse C position at impact. The problem is the club got stuck behind me and I had to flip it at impact, causing all sorts of problems. I thought about Corey Pavin at that time. And I said, you know, the way Corey Pavin makes his practice swing is he takes the club back and then he comes, well, I can right over the top like this in his practice swing. He goes inside and like this. And I said, you know what, I'm tired of swinging the club where it comes in and it gets stuck like this at impact. I want to make that club go left. So how do I do that? Corey Pavin's practice swing came to mind. And when I did that back in 1994, I'd never felt so much freedom in my golf swing ever in my life. And I hope it'll help your golf swing as well.
Hey OTT Miracle Swingers, this is Masters Week, and that was Tom Watson talking about his over-the-top miracle swing. Now, I consider Tom Watson to be the modern founder of the OTT throwback swing, along with Corey Pavin. Obviously, Corey Pavin was his inspiration. But what I have in store for you today is a piece of history, and I think that this could be the most important video I've ever made during my swing evolution. I'm going to trace the history of the golf swing and talk about when the major changes happened, all centered around Tom Watson, because this week I'm featuring a different Masters winner every single day who has an over-the-top miracle golf swing. You're going to not believe this lineup. And when you start to look at these swings, it'll make a lot of sense. Now, if you're curious about the over-the-top miracle swing, go to myswingevolution.com. You can use free month to sign up for MSE TV. You can pick up the video. It's just 42 minutes long. It's in depth. It's a very simple golf swing to learn. If you'd like to sign on to MSE TV, I'm going to be putting up drills and other videos about OTT swingers as I continue my research. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I think MSE TV is the best deal in all member sites in golf. Now, Tom Watson has done something really amazing by letting people know that he figured out the secret of the golf swing in 1994. But it's very important that we trace the history of the golf swing to understand how everything got so screwed up. Honest to God, today's modern swing theories with so many different things like create width by swinging down the target line and disconnecting your arms and dropping it under plane, and it's just crazy. I'm not saying you can't swing the golf club different ways, but for me personally, I wish I never wasted any time doing that, because for the first time since I was a kid, I'm playing golf by focusing on the target and not worrying about my swing anymore. That's why I call it a miracle. So watch this video about Tom Watson and his amazing over-the-top swing that nearly won him the British Open at the age of 59. Wow, I still cry when I think about that. But check this out, and thank you, Tom Watson. I consider Tom Watson the most important proponent of the modern over-the-top miracle swing, because he's the one that's talked about it the most. Although Corey Pavin has demonstrated it, Tom Watson used the over-the-top swing to nearly win the 2009 British Open at the age of 59, which would have been, to me, the greatest feat in all of golf history. He did it for 71 holes and beat the best golfers in the world in the modern era. But I think it's important that we take a look back to where his swing began before he made this amazing run at the Claret Jug. So let's look at his earlier golf swing. Here we have Tom Watson, probably late 70s, and we're going to watch his swing in slow motion. It's a beautiful flowing motion. So if we watch his backswing, let's take this frame by frame here. He has a move off the ball to load into his right leg. He takes the club not terribly down the line. I think he still takes it up to the inside rather nicely. But what we see is a tremendous drive of the legs and a tilting back to create that reverse C. Tremendous drive of the legs and hips out from underneath him. Now, Tom Watson, he studied the swing with Byron Nelson, who had quite a caddy dip in his knees. So that could have been where he picked it up. But I think that he really picked it up from Jack Nicklaus. So here we see Jack Nicklaus in the 70s, shuttling his knees forward as he described. But I have to tell you guys, I think that this swing is inferior to Jack Nicklaus's swing in the 1960s. Here we see Jack and Tom side by side. I think we can see some similarities here. Obviously, Jack was the greatest player in the history of golf, and he was influencing an entire generation of golfers. So you can hit the ball and play good golf this way. There's no question about it. But I believe now that the over-the-top miracle swing really faded in this era because a lot of the players that learned to swing in the 60s and before had the over-the-top miracle swing. So let's take a look at Jack Nicklaus's swing in the 1960s. I've said many times on my channel, I believe these swings were the greatest swings by Jack Nicklaus. Tremendous powerful move like a baseball slugger. Now, long drive teachers will tell you this is a better golf swing because he's pressing out of his lead leg much better. If we see here, we're going to notice that his left hip is inside of his left ankle bone, which is going to allow him to press up and create the most power through the ball. If we look at this post-impact picture, we're going to see the picture on the right from 1963 is much better in terms of power and stability than the picture on the left from 1972. So I think this shuttling action of Jack Nicklaus's knees that he somehow picked up really influenced Tom Watson to become the golfer that he was, multiple major winner. But I still believe that there was something missing in this type of swing that Tom discovered later on. So let's take a look at these swings from Tom Watson. This is a beautiful golf swing. Still loads into the right leg, transfers weight, but he comes slightly over the top of the ball. If we do this frame by frame, we see he takes it inside and up. Tom swings slightly across the line, which I see in many OTT swingers like Sam Snead and Bobby Jones, also John Daly. Because I think when you take it up inside really far, it's easy for the club to get pointed across the line, which is perfectly fine. Now he does what I call the lasso move. I'll be discussing this on MSE TV. That brings him right down into the slot to hit the ball long and straight. Beautiful extension, just gorgeous. Now let's look at the famous swing on number 18. I personally thought he won the golf tournament with this amazing golf swing. He landed the ball about 20 feet short of the pin, and unfortunately the green was so firm it rolled over the back of the green. Oh, what could have been. So as we look at Tom's swing, we see a nice little over-the-top move. Now I want to add some dots here so we can see exactly where he's at. Very inside with the takeaway, upper left arm connected. And as he takes the club up, he just lifts the club up to the next position. We'll add another dot here. And then we're going to see a very slight over-the-top move. It's not tremendous. I have about the same. I I feel like I'm swinging over the top of a huge mountain, but it's not very much, but it still keys something very different in my body that allows me to get my arms in front of me. So we can see here at P6, Tom has moved generously over his backswing plane, which allows him to hit a nice solid shot, which should have won him the British Open. God bless him. I wish he had. Well, I will always be grateful for Tom Watson for the inspiration that he's given us. What a great champion. He's turned into an elderly statesman of the game, which I appreciate so much. I hope I'll get to interview you someday, Mr. Watson. And thank you so much for helping to change my game and the games of millions of other golfers around the world. I hope you hit them long and hit them straight. Do you have trouble slicing the golf ball? How many times have you heard people tell you you're swinging over the top? That's your problem. What if I told you the natural motion of swinging over the top is actually the best way to hit the golf ball? Would you think I'm crazy? Well, I'm here today to tell you about the over-the-top miracle. The best part is it's a natural motion based on a throw.
What I worked on there was trying to get as far back as I could inside, tried to stay down through the ball.
Do you think you picked up some yardage since we've been working on this stuff?
On the driver, at least 50 to 60 yards.
It's dynamite.
It's crazy.
You don't have to be stuck with an over-the-top slice. That's why I created the new video, The Over-the-Top Miracle. Transform your game with the over-the-top miracle swing at myswingevolution.com.